The Law Collaborative presents Ron and Robert on Divorce. Here are attorneys Ronald Supanchik and Robert Borski with California Family Law. And welcome to Ron and Robert on Divorce. Robert Borski here with my partner,
Ron Supanchik.
And I have been looking forward to this show, Ron, for a long time.
Yes, we have. It took us about a year to put this together.
Yes, it did. We have a very, very special guest with us today. We have sitting Superior Court judge, and I'm going to let you do the introductions. You actually go back farther, although I've known Tom also for about 25 years.
Well, Thomas Trent Lewis is one of the most respected, admired, and listened to judges in Southern California. He speaks for the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, the state bar, the local bar. He is an author. He's a writer. He's a teacher. But more importantly, he's really a very sweet human being who I've had the pleasure of knowing for probably 35 years. When were you admitted, Tom?
Well, it's just about a little less than that. It's 32.
32 years.
78.
Yeah, I knew it was more than 30 years ago that we met. Tom started his practice in the building right next to my building, and we became friends early on because of his interest in family law. And so I've had the privilege of trying cases with Tom. I think we've had upwards to 4 or 5 or maybe more cases, and then as his interest in mediation became evident. He served as a mediator on one of my cases, and we're both fellows in the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, so we've attended seminars and workshops together. But Tom's career has been just an exciting one to follow, and we'll get into some of the details of that. But what I think is most significant about Tom is that as a certified family law specialist, he worked in the trenches for over 28 years, working with families, working with mothers and fathers, helping children be as a child advocate. And then he was elevated to the bench by the governor, became a Superior Court judge, and received a family law assignment, not surprisingly. One of the complaints that we had as lawyers 30 years ago, Tom will remember, was that most of the family law judges came from
criminal law, usually.
Yeah, the district attorney's office.
Yes.
And they had no clue, and we would just agonize over the time that it took to educate these judges to just some of the more subtle and sophisticated dimensions of family law practice. Well, Tom brought all that wealth of information and experience to the bench and has become one of the most sought-after judges. You don't have a lot of choice in what judge you get. You can bounce a judge, but you can't really pick a judge. But when you get the assignment to Tom's department, it's always
a pleasure,
a real delight. So Tom, one of the questions that I wanted to start with, and
well, let me just start by saying, who exactly were you talking about just the last time?
It's a friend of mine. You don't know him.
I bear no resemblance to that human being.
Down the hall.
Your words are very kind, and I'm very humbled and honored to have the chance to participate with two lawyers that I respect a lot and I've known for a long time and in various different settings. And so I'm very honored to have the chance to talk about the court. Of course, I can't express judicial opinions here. I can just talk generally about the social dynamics of the court. I don't speak for the court today. I only speak my own personal views, and no one should go running out and saying to another judge, well, Judge Lewis says, because frankly you'll offend that judge and you'll make yourself look foolish if you do that. Besides, they may not agree with me. And if they do, you don't have to tell them I said it. Just tell them you said it. So,
I love it.
In any event, very honored to be here.
So, Tom, there was a point in time when you were a brand new baby lawyer, newly admitted to the practice of law, and the career opportunities opened up in front of you. You could have gone into corporate law. You could have gone into government law. There were so many options available to you. How is it that you chose family law? It's not the most lucrative. It's certainly one of the more difficult areas of practice. What was it that drew you to the to the practice of family law?
Well, I wouldn't say actually I was drawn. Like most of us, and I think true for both of you, I was told by the partners in the firm, you're doing this case.
Oh.
And so originally it wasn't actually a draw to the area. It was, I was the low guy on the totem pole, and this is what I was assigned to do. In law school, I liked family law a lot. I think that the thing that, it was in about 1983 that I really realized that family law had the broad dimension of almost every area of law from the civil side, and it had the dynamic of trying to help solve problems for real-life people, not just companies. And so originally my career path was geared more towards business litigation, but the more I started practicing the family law area, I really realized that I could do three things. One, touch things that had to do with finances. Two, participate in helping to protect and advance the interests of children. And three, really have an impact on lives rather than just commercial litigation. So when that happened, then I announced I don't want to do anything but family law to the firm that I, at the point in time, had just become a junior partner. And my partners respected that, honored it, promoted it, and so from about 1984 forward, I would say that my practice was exclusively family law and remained so until I left the practice and went on the bench, where it remains now that I'm very honored to be assigned in a family law assignment. For me, it's the perfect assignment. For many who get assigned to family law, it's no surprise they don't really want to be assigned to family law. There's sort of a unwritten statement of how did you get the presiding judge angry enough at you to appoint you to sit in a family law assignment. But many judges who come to the assignment realize from a variety of different backgrounds that it's a great assignment, particularly for a civil lawyer. It's the most like what they did as a lawyer in terms of being a newly appointed judge, rather than doing a misdemeanor trial department. They're really dealing with financial issues, and so in many ways I think it's an attractive assignment. Unfortunately, throughout the state, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more, there's a great deal of problem with not assigning a sufficient number of bench officers to the family law area, and so burnout sometimes happens, unfortunately, because of the overwhelming sense, not just of the issues that you're dealing with, but the workload. And so it is a high-intensity workload assignment, and not to say that the other areas aren't too, but that's usually the complaint that you'll hear from most judges is the workload is so heavy.
Tom, I had a conversation just about a week ago with a judge who's just recently left the bench, actually left the family law bench to go into another area of being a judicial officer. But it was interesting. I asked this particular judge what was one of the impetuses to request this transfer, and it was a transfer. And the response was interesting that, Robert, I have to make so many decisions regarding people's lives, it got to the point where I was having a problem with making those decisions.
That's a common, I think that's a common hurdle that all judges face. It's said in a simple phrase that judges judge. And if you went to the baseball game and the umpire had to deliberate for 90 days about whether it was a ball or a strike, the game wouldn't move forward. And not to minimize the importance of impact on lives to baseball analogies, but people need decisions, and they need to feel that they were heard and that the decision was made. And there's a catchy phrase that I have called decidophobia, and I think that there's a balance between deliberation, taking the time to think it through, and becoming paralyzed and not able to make decisions. And for some bench officers, that has happened, I'm sure. I think that the people deserve a decision. That's why we were elected or appointed, because the people were, the governor or the people by election decided that this was somebody whose decisions we could trust. And so that's what the people deserve is a decision. But it is a common problem. I think that what is often misunderstood is that as you hear evidence, as you receive information, sometimes you just go, you know what, I need to get away from this for a couple of days and really deliberate on it and not be in a rush. A rush to judgment can be just as devastating as not making a decision at all.
Right.